Live from 14 WFIE, this is Education Matters.
Hello everyone and welcome to Education Matters. I'm Jennifer Cahill.
And I'm Vince Bergman. On our show today, we'll introduce you to a few of EVSC's innovative models for high school students. The New Tech Institute, Early College High School, and Career and Technical Center are options for high school students to meet the diverse learning needs of our students.
And in our EVSC Spotlight today, we'll highlight North High School students pitching in during all of this flooding to help their neighbors. But first this morning, a look at what's making news in education. Election day yesterday was not a successful one for all school districts in Indiana. In 2 out of the 3 school districts that had a referendum on the ballot, voters voted them down. In Franklin Township and Avon, Indiana, both districts located near Indianapolis, voters resoundingly defeated the referendums. In Franklin Township, the fate of more than 80 teaching jobs, 3 schools, and transportation hinged on the referendum. The superintendent of that district says with the failure, the district will close those 3 schools and eliminate most transportation. Voters feared the impact of rising property taxes, which would have gone up 17 and 75 cents per $100 in each of those 2 districts. Voters in Perry Township, Indiana, approved a school referendum. Indiana's legislative session has come to a close, and with it, a series of education reform bills that Governor Daniels will finish signing into law tomorrow. Among those are limitations on collective bargaining, more regular teacher evaluations, and expanding charter schools. So now the attention turns to Washington, D.C., where the Education and Workforce Committee is charged with the reauthorization of No Child Left Behind. President Obama is calling for education reforms similar to those Indiana legislators recently approved, and he says he wants a reform bill on his desk, quote, by the time next school year begins. So Dr. Bertram, let's talk about this referendum news, because Evansville so successfully passed a referendum just 4 years ago, yet these school districts weren't so lucky last night. What do you think that means for them?
Well, it's one of the key challenges for schools. Really, there are 2 major things happening right now. Obviously, declining revenues at the state level, which supports your general fund, as well as, in many cases, declining assessed valuation. And then there's actually a third issue now with property tax caps becoming part of Indiana's constitution. So when you put all those factors together, schools are really struggling and finding the resources to achieve its mission. So they're going to referendum. One of the things this community embraced early on, and I believe is absolutely critical for communities, that we have to look at education as an investment. It's a critical piece to our competitiveness as a state, as a region, as a country, and unless we're willing to make those investments, I think our schools are going to struggle.
So those voters who voted this down effectively said, we're willing to let our community suffer in the future, possibly just in order to save that 17 or 75 cents?
Well, I don't know that everyone understands the implications, the consequences for not doing anything or rejecting those referendums. And I think the other thing that I believe we're benefiting from is that we can go out to people and share with how our community supports education. And I think it's great for economic development, workforce development, as well as the quality of life that we enjoy. So there are serious consequences for schools losing this kind of revenue.
And once again, we're lucky to be down here in Southwest Indiana with the citizens that we have who support education.
Well, this community has been looked at as a model, and I think when I look at not only the referendum, but the way our business community and leaders support education overall, it's extraordinarily positive, and I believe it is a model for the state of Indiana.
All right, thank you. And coming up next, learning styles differ from student to student. So how do teachers best teach everyone? We'll take a look at how the EVSC is overcoming that issue up next.